Good morning, Utah. How are you today? Welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. A little later in the show, we are going to be talking about the growing restrictions and reversals of fortunes out on the oil fields and gas fields of eastern Utah. But first, we are going to address the issue of parks. You know, the old popular line from the movie goes, "If you build it, they will come." That may be true, but will it be profitable is a different question. Currently, Utah state parks, many of the museums and heritage sites, some of the recreation sites are dealing with deficits, and the legislature is looking at budget cuts. Here with the report is Susan Wood.
Times are tight. Seems like you have to watch every penny these days, and even then there may not be enough to cover expenses. But at what point do you do something like this?
Things get tight and you have to cut back on whatever extras it is in your life that's causing your financial problem. I think when you get to the wife's wedding ring, you kind of stop before that.
But Utah lawmakers are considering cutting funds to state parks, $3 million over 2 years. Many on the county and local level consider that akin to selling the crown jewels. An audit of state parks shows some are costing a lot more money than they're making. A cash drain. For instance, Utah's first Capitol building in Fillmore, the center of state government, was located, naturally, in the center of the state. After the Capitol moved to Salt Lake City, it became Utah's first state park. Now it's a museum.
We have things that can't be found in any other museum in the state. For example, one of the flags that they would wave as Brigham Young came into town. We have one of those original flags I always talk about.
I dare say that if you are a native to Utah, you can probably come here and wander down the halls of the lower floors of the museum and find a relative hanging up on the wall there, because their reach went far and wide from this area.
The heritage parks cost more to operate, and they have fewer visitors, but they protect some of the jewels of our heritage here in Utah.
But according to the audit, for every visitor here, the state loses $15. Other parks targeted by the audit, Edge of the Cedars near Blanding, with its ancient pueblo and ruins. It loses $30 per visitor. The Utah Fieldhouse of Natural History Museum near Vernal, where you can dig for fossils and explore the dinosaur garden. The audit shows it loses $8 per visitor. The Frontier Homestead Museum, displaying the history of Cedar City and Iron County, a $14 loss per visitor. And the biggest money loser? A golf course. The 9-hole course in Green River on the riverbank. Cost to taxpayers, $43 for every round played.
They're gems of the state, but they don't generate a lot of money.
I guess what the legislature needs to ask itself is, are there values in these special places to protect, and it's going to cost a little bit of money to take care of those so people have a place to go reconnect with either their heritage or the outdoors, the recreational value, and all of those sort of things, which to me is very important in the lifestyle of the state of Utah.
Many of these parks are the lifeblood of the small communities where they're located, like Fillmore.
As far as the community, this has always been the hub.
You know, a small community like we have does not have a great deal of things that we can attract people with. But this is one thing that we really can.
You might not feel the impact up north, but once you have an impact in a small town, you lose 66% of your employment. It's an impact.
The audit suggests state parks should look into more partnerships with the federal government, which is already granting money to some of these facilities. But with budget cuts in Washington, that money may disappear.
Public funding is going away, and so we're going to have to act more like a business.
And that may take more partnerships with privately owned businesses. In Fillmore, they believe more advertising and publicity could increase the foot traffic of the jewel on Main Street. But many agree, these Utah jewels are too valuable to give up.
Pretty soon, that part of history is gone. You don't want to sell this wedding ring here. This is culturally important to our state.
Susan Wood for the County Seat.
Thank you, Susan, for that report. You know, the idea of using concessionaires has proven to work for the state of Utah. A company called Sequoia Motorsports out of Salem, Utah, has been operating at Yuba Lake now for 2 seasons, running a concessions operation which has changed the profile and the desirability of people to participate in activities at that park. It has been so successful that they are actually expanding their operations and working another lake with state parks in the future. Well, stay with us. We'll be back with more of the County Seat. When we return, we'll be taking a look at the challenges facing the oil and gas companies as they try to develop the fuel fields in eastern Utah.
Native Americans called it the land of the sleeping rainbow. It's a place of unparalleled enchantment where history, splendor, and industry meet. We call it Sevier County. Experience the Paiute Trail by ATV. Explore 7 national parks, all within a few hours' drive. Gaze down at the world from an entirely new perspective. Join us in Sevier County and discover real Utah. Come, explore the Paiute Trail and beyond.
Starring your own Western adventure right here in Utah's Kane County.
Won't you come and play?
Zion National Park is TripAdvisor's best national park, and St. George, Utah was named the #1 travel hotspot. If you haven't planned your St. George or Zion getaway yet, visit atozion.com and find out why everyone else is already packing. St. George, Utah, everything from A to Zion.
In order for there to be adventure, there must first be a land that offers it. In order for there to be discovery, there must first be something undiscovered. It's time you discovered northeastern Utah's dinosaur lands, the trails, water, beauty, and history that have been 65 million years in the making. Take your journey to a destination where adventure is only limited by your imagination. Join us in Uinta County, Undiscovered Utah.